We are live. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Echo's Reloading Chamber. Our
Oh boy.
guest tonight, as always, AR Guns, and special guest is 76Highboy. And so, AR, I'm going to have you kick it off as usual. So go ahead, sir.
Oh, hey everyone, the side chat. Good to see you. Glad to have you here today. Welcome, my boy, and appreciate the co-hosting thing, Echo.
Thank, thank you for having
Uh,
me.
we'll take it. What we'll do is they'll go through their question things and talking about the reloading thing and the rifles and this, that, and the other, and then you all will take questions from you after they get through. So kind of hold your questions till a little bit later. But let's go, guys. Take it away, Echo. Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
cowboy. Oh, sorry.
So, Highboy, welcome to the show, brother. Glad to have you on.
Thank you very much.
Basically, what we're going to do is I'm just going to start out asking you a couple of things and let you go where you want to go with it. Basically, how did you get started reloading, and what's the story behind you and reloading, pulling a handle?
Um, sure. I'm really honored that you guys would ask me to do this. I'm very humbled. My thank you. And before I get in on this, I want to tell a brother of mine out there, a Lord 76 dude, brother. I've been praying for you, and so is my wife. It's great to see in the comments, and we continue praying. You never know who's praying when you don't think they're praying, but those prayers mean a lot. I'm choked up because Ronnie, he's like a brother to me, and man, I wish I lived closer. I'd be bringing them meals and stuff. So it's good to see you. And it's good to see everybody. So I do, I do have a history on how I got started reloading, and but mine's a little different. It's sometimes um, I sometimes I don't like to think about it because things in our childhood aren't always like the best. When we grow up, there's things we wish we could remember, not have to remember, right? But when I grew up, the earliest I remember being around guns was if I really think about it, I was probably not much past an infant, and I was sitting against a tire of a pickup truck in the desert, and I could see my father shooting in different positions on the ground. So he would take us kids shooting at whatever age. And I remember that. And it's very black and white. I don't know if I was 2, I don't know if I was 3, I don't know how old. But my father, from a young age, always had some sort of rifle torn down on the table, was always reloading for something. And my father used to always, he wouldn't brag about it. He would tell you, I will shoot a rabbit running through my scope. He lived for that, and he did his own reload. So as a young boy, I grew up around that, and I had a sister. She was 2 years younger than me, and my brother was 2 years younger. I was just right in the middle there. Um, but there was a problem with me, is I had asthma, and my sister being born first, she was just daddy's little girl, and then I was born, the one with asthma. And that's all the kids they were going to have was just 2 kids. And then 2 years later, my brother was born, and they always said he was our accident. And they said, oh, he had the cutest little curly hairs. So here's sister, and here's the last, and there's me, the one with asthma. So growing up, my father was always around guns. Getting to be around the age of 10 is when I got to shoot my first gun. Ruger, 3 screw. No, I take it back. Yeah, it was a 3 screw. I think it was a big bore because I always wanted to shoot a big bore, right? And My sister, she shot a little bit, then I shot, and then my brother got to shoot. And my father always reloaded. And my father was a smoker and I had asthma. I couldn't be around that. Well, what happened was my brother, he got that first seat of reloading. I didn't. Yeah, I had my times when my dad would put me on the lap and pull the handle, what have you. But as I got older and my brother was able to shoot more and my sister liked to fish, it was me, the one staying home with mom, and they would always go off and fish and hunt. And here I was, this kid that really had this urge to do this. And I remember this so well when my dad would go fishing. When you went fishing, you always had a revolver on your side. That's how my dad was. So I remember I'd get on my skateboard and I would go about 2 miles down the road to this little store. And there was two things I always looked at in the store. One, Hot Wheels. My mom would give me money to go buy Hot Wheels because I know she felt really bad for me. But then I would go look at the guns at the gun counter. That was M&W at Hollister and State Street in Boise, Idaho. And there I was. Couldn't go. Couldn't go. Well, finally, I was almost able to hunt, and I wanted to reload. I wanted to reload. I was almost 14, and my dad said, all right, you want to reload? You're going to reload. And he would set me up to do all the case cleaning. And for everything that I did, he would give me the book and say, read that. You read that. So I would read it. And then the next step of the process, he'd say, you read that. And so after I'd done all the different sorts of different case prep and priming and belling and so forth, I learned to reload. Well, my father and me didn't get along because I had resentment. And so that's why he told me to take the book, because we just butted heads all the time. And I remember we came to a point where him and me had a standoff, fist to fist, and I turned around and I was ready to go. And he looked at me and walked off because he knew that I was to that point where I'm not going to take this no more. I might not be your favorite, but you're going to quit picking on me. So at that point, I was about 15 and I had a job and I had another job, and I kind of began drifting away from really doing anything with him, and I didn't reload anymore. I had done it for maybe 2.5 years as he would let me, right? And then I graduated from high school. And guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to reload. And I wanted a gun. I really bad. And this is what I remember most about learning how to reload is, all those gun shops my dad would take me to, I had no idea. But those guys could see how my father didn't stop to see how much I wanted to learn to reload. And it's like when I came into their gun shops, it's like they adopted me. They would say, dude, if you'd have been my son, you would have been shooting at 10 and reloading at 10. And so they adopted me. That's when I began learning to reload. And so I learned handgun. First 44 mag was the first thing I had to learn. And but I didn't have a lot of money, so when I wanted another caliber, I would sell a gun for another one. Pretty smart, right? And I remember when I got into my first rifle, it was a 7mm mag, and I called my dad, and I said, Dad, I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. And my dad said, read the book. That was the relationship I had with my dad. I was like, click, okay. And so I would go see these guys, and the guys in the pawn shops, they were really, really good guys. But there was one guy I went to, and his name was Bert Cole. He reloaded ammunition, custom for hunters, competitors. He would take their rifle and their ammo, and Bert was a tough one. But once you got on his good side, man, he would help you. And I remember he really helped me to understand just the fundamentals of rifle. Didn't get me into precision because I didn't have a precision, but he made me build precision into my loads for my rifles, helped me to better load for that chamber. And that's what he really taught me. You know what? I'll tell you what Bert taught me. He taught me how to size better for my chamber and how to seat. That's really what he taught me. Unfortunately, Bert Cole was murdered. Some guys went into his shop. He was a full gun guy, always carried, and they took him out by gun, put him in the back seat, drove him out to Oregon, shot him in the head, and left him at the ditch. Because Bert always had cash on him. If you went there and you did something for Bert, he'd pull a big wad of cash out to give you your change back. People knew that. Eventually, he got murdered. That was a big loss when he passed away. I don't remember what year that was or how old I was. I can't remember that. But that's when I really started learning how to reload. And then as I had a little shed, it was an angled shed. The front of it was higher than the back, so when it rained, the water would run off. Had kind of a busted up wood floor, dirt, and I had several different presses. Had all my dyes out there. Never thought about rust. It's raining and dripping shit. Never had that problem. It just didn't, you know. And so the one thing I never loaded for was for semi-auto because I couldn't afford that. And the one thing I didn't like about rifles, I learned right away, and I sold my 7mm mag. One thing I learned about rifles right away, you buy that rifle, you got to go buy optics. Optics was always a killer, unless you want cheap optics. And Bert Cole always taught me, he said, if I ever catch you buying cheap optics, I'm going to bust your knuckles. So he said, no department store scopes. You stay away from those if you want to be a good shooter, you know. And he would say, department store scopes waste your time. You don't have time to waste on a department store scope, do you? I'd say, yes, sir. You know, so I just didn't gravitate to rifles as much as I should have. So my basic calibers were mostly revolvers, every kind of revolver there was. And now I take something back. As I grew older and my dad and me got along, he would get a semi-auto pistol. I'd go over there, he'd load up for it, we'd go shoot it. And I'd kind of help him, and now we're kind of getting along a little bit, you know. And but then a little part of my life, I became very sick. I became it was about 1993. I became very ill because of my asthma, my lungs, and I lost my job, couldn't work, and I ended up in an alley. And I slept in the alley for 18 months, and I ate out of dumpsters, like wherever I could find food, because if you don't have a home, how do you eat, right? And everything I had was in this truck. And I remember I was so poor, I had to sell all my guns, everything. So now I don't have a gun. And that was really weird. So I did go and I did buy a shotgun. And I still got that shotgun in my safe. It was a sawed off 18.5-inch 12 gauge Stoker shotgun. Man, it would do the job if I needed it. Over the course of 18 months in the alley, I didn't do much with guns, but I ended up working 3 jobs. What else are you going to do if you're homeless? Sit in an alley? No, I was really smart. I said, I will not give up. Even though I'm homeless and I'm sick, I'm not down. And so I got a job, and I rented a storage shed where I had 2 laundry baskets and a little dresser. I got a gym membership where I could get my clean shower, and then I got a second job, and then I got a third job, and I would sleep in my, had this old truck broke down. I bought a $200 car, and I would sleep in between jobs. That's all I would do. And I stayed for 18 months, and I paid all my daughters, because I had a newborn daughter in 93. I paid all her medical bills off, and my mother passed away. and my father and me finally got to know each other. And I moved in with my father. Now that's when a lot of stuff happened for reloading for me. Started getting my old revolvers back, and immediately set my room up with just a small place to reload. And what's funny is I didn't reload a lot, but what I reloaded was really good. It's where I really had time to think. And he stayed on his side of the house. He smoked, and I had my side of the house. But we'd go out and shoot together and learn a lot about barrel, short stubbies, extra long barrels, and powder burn rates. I was really getting on my feet. And then my brother and sister, who had been involved in drugs, had drifted away from my dad. Well, they finally came back to my dad. My dad didn't want nothing to do with me. Nothing. Suddenly, these two are back, so you can go away. Well, that's when I met my beautiful wife, and I got married. I got a home. So when we got our home, I always wanted new reloading equipment. I always had this old stuff and reloading dies from pawn shops. That's how all the guys with pawn shops, that's how they got me going. That's all I knew. And so my wife, she let me buy my first Hornady lock and load progressive press, and I bought my first Redding Big Boss, and that's what I had before my channel started. And ever since then, it's just grown for me. And the greatest thing is my wife. She's my best friend. We always shoot together, and she's always so supportive of this. She could tell that's what I really loved. That's what I really wanted to do. And the saddest thing is my father passed away probably 5 or 6 years ago. I had my channel for 2 years, and I never told my father about it. He never knew. My dad wrote the book on reloading. I'm pretty sure he would have loved to be here, but we never had that relationship. So to sum all this up, there is a reason that I'm sharing this, is because I've shared that with people, and they said, well, the reason that you turned to guns as a hobby is you knew it would please your dad. No. Because I always watched those old westerns like AR Guns watches. I always wanted to be a cowboy. I always wanted to have a gun, and I didn't even like the same guns as my father most of the time. That's one thing we never agreed on. But don't ever let your past dictate your future. Never, ever let that happen. And so that's my story. The people that helped me learn to reload were people that I always looked up to. My whole life has been about, when I see someone with really good qualities, I'm going to steal them. I'm going to let that person know, man, I'm going to steal your qualities. People love that. And sometimes when you see really good qualities in people, you might not know it, but inside they're a little lost inside. And when you let them know that you appreciate their qualities, you kind of did them a little favor too. It goes back and forth, right? So what I did to be a better reloader is I showed my vulnerability side to a lot of men that were a lot older than me, but they were willing to say, this kid really wants something, I'm going to help him. And for me, I don't learn by reading a book. I just don't. When I was a kid, the two things I wanted to really do, one, I wanted to shoot guns. I didn't really realize how much passion there would be for the reloading. I just knew it was reloading is what got you shooting. So I just wanted to shoot, and so reloading was the vehicle. Well, there was another vehicle I liked, and that was four-wheel drives. How do you work on a four-wheel drive? So I remember when I got my first job, I got to buy my very first issue of four-wheel drive mag for four-wheeler. It was four-wheeler. Had this blue Highboy Ford. I'll never forget it. And the guy's wife's name was Debbie. I remember reading the whole article. Him and his wife's name was Debbie. They restored, it was like a 74 Ford F-250 four-wheel drive. Big monster tires. I wanted to do that. And so I would begin reading articles on how to work on four-wheel drives, and I didn't understand it. Then I got this Shilton's book given to me. I didn't understand it. It's like, I was a paper boy, and I told this guy, I said, I'm trying to get my dad gave me my first truck with a broken rear end. Made me work for 2 years, and goes, there's your truck, broken rear end. So I can't fix it. So my neighbor, he gives me this book on how to fix it, and I can't fix it. So I tore it down, and then the book made sense. It's like, oh, you do both together, right? That's how reloading is just because you take the book doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get it. But when you have people that are good role models, that they will work with you, and then you have the book, it all comes together. Just kind of like when my father taught me how to reload for the revolvers, he really did do me a favor by making me do it and read the book. But he didn't teach me about headspace, because headspace was built in to a rim straight walled cartridge. But when I got into rifles and I read on headspace, I was like, I don't get this. But when I would go over and someone would show me headspacing, like Bert would headspace it for a rifle perfectly, you'd go, oh, I get that. Now I can read headspacing and I get it. The bearings are rolling in my head. So for someone wanting to, so that's my story, you know. And when I started my channel, I didn't want to be this guy that said, I know everything and I can help you guys do anything you want. No, I just started a channel because if I have something that I can give to you guys, that means all those guys that gave me stuff way back then, it carried through. And wouldn't you know, I met one of them several years back, told him about my channel. He was so overly joyed. He was in his late 70s, and shortly after he passed away. I wanted to have him on my channel. This dude shot a guy in his pawn shop. You're gonna rob him. He blew him away. He never went to jail. Blew the dude away. He was hardcore. That was back in the 60s, right? And so, that's my story.
That is one heck of a story. That's pretty amazing. Growing up that way, it's kind of funny that you should grow up with asthma and I grew up with diabetes, and both of us kind of left out of things because of it. But we just found our own things to do to entertain ourselves.
That's why you and me get each other, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see how you learn too. I never learned well by books either. I learned by doing it and then not doing it correctly and be like, well, that's the wrong way to do it. Let's try to figure out. And I did more with guys. I would go to people and figured out a way to approach people to get them to help me to do things like, hey, listen, I don't want you to do it for me, but hey, if you get 10 minutes, can you show me one time how you do it? And, and most guys would be like, well, here, kid, let me show you how to do it. This is what you want to achieve is this, and this is how you get there.
Yeah.
And, in doing it like that, that's how I did most of my learning, was by getting stuff. And it was more expensive that way because you would mess up parts on your car that you just bought and you'd have to go get new ones, and somebody'd show you how, and they'd be like, now you want to be careful about this and this. And you were like, oh yeah, I know about that and that. I broke that the first time I tried to do it. But yeah, so I'm with you. Now, as far as you're I remember seeing some of your early stuff from your YouTube channel when you had your Hornady lock and load progressive.
Yeah.
And you got that thing going pretty good. Then I remember you getting into the Dillon and then the T7. And that's about the time where me and you kind of came together and I came on your channel for the first time. Now, we were seeing a progression across you working with the T7s, and you did quite a bit with the Dillons, going through how to set them up and change conversions over to other calibers, different size primers, setups, and that. And then you went into the T7 and on a slower basis and tried to go over everything that you could, showing people how to reload for if they didn't have the money to go into a Dillon, or they were not needing as much ammunition. And we all loved your setup and you going through that. Now, I was told a little premature before anyone else was that you were going into precision extreme distance shooting. And that's why the picture for this night's stream was a Bagheera Premier Series 300 PRC. And so where do you, I know now that you've let the cat out of the bag. You did your premiere where you showed your rifle off, and what you plan that you and Greg are going to be doing some real head storming on what you're going to be coming up with as far as some load developments and everything. And now you're going to take us on a completely new journey. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Highboy?
Well, I don't know how the journey is going to go. I do want to, this spring, I want to take this rival. I want to go to see GT Morrow, as you guys know him, and I want to shoot with him. They've got a 2,000 yard range there. But I do want to go. What a mile is 1760 yards? So I'm going to go over a mile. Well, the Lord willing, I don't know. I'm going to give it my best shot. First off, I want to see what my rifle is capable. Is it capable of quarter MOA at 100 yards? We're going to find out. Also going to find out my skills, right? So I will say that I've always told my viewers, I've always been a 400 yard guy, because for the hunting application, for me, I've never been interested in shooting an animal at a great distance, because part of the thrill of hunting is stalking, the thrill of stalking, right? It's you and the animal, right? And so you're trying to outsmart this critter. And so I want to get as close as I can. But just because I said I'm a 400 yard guy doesn't mean I can't go 1,000. As a matter of fact, about 3 years ago, I met a guy and he had his rifle all set up. Let me shoot it. I was popping targets at 1,000 yards. He said, "Man, that's good." That's your first time ever shot? I said, my first time, I understand scopes, and there is something that a lot of people don't think about. The ability for a person to shoot, it's all in your genetics. Being able to shoot a fully loaded 44 Magnum is all in your genetics. You look at a big guy, 250 pounds, and he doesn't like to recoil, and you watch a lady, 150 pounds, manhandle a fully loaded 44 Magnum, and she has the posterity and the stance, and she understands the recoil, she gets the eye movement. That's genetics. And genetics, you look at a person that's right-handed, left eye dominant, that struggles shooting. Well, then explain some of these really good shooters that are right-handed, left eye dominant, and they master it because there's something genetic in there that they understand the scope. Everything comes together, right? So my ability to work the scope, excellent. But one of the problems I have is I have a very, very hard, very profound heartbeat. A lot of it's because of my asthma and my medications. So, when I'm looking through a scope and I can see my reticles doing that with my heartbeat, I'm kind of glad that this rifle I bought is 10.5 pounds because I'm going to need all the rifle I can get to absorb that. And I really like the trigger on this. That's really going to help. So genetics plays a lot into the success of a shooter, and it's ultimately what limits us. If it wasn't, everyone would be shooting 2,000 yards, right? If genetics wasn't everything, we'd all be doctors, right? So my goal is this is my goal. I want to see how far I can take this rifle. I don't want to do it in a bragging way. I'm just a humble guy that wants to go out and shoot. And it's just like as if if I'm reloading for someone, I'm going to show them how to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show my journey. I'd like to start with, how do you properly mount a scope? I have an idea. A lot of guys have an idea, but GT Morrow, he's probably put 1,000 scopes on 1,000 rifles in his lifetime, and he's a professional. He's a gunsmith. So I'm going to start this series out with a video of him talking me through this. So anyone that watches that video, they're going to see me put the scope on, let's see, that rifle right behind me. I'm going to put the Vortex scope on it, and you'll hear him telling me what to do. So if you want to mount a scope to your rifle, odds are you just don't watch me, just listen to him, and you'll be pretty close to what's proper. And then from there, man, I do know there's a lot of things that play into long range shooting. Measuring ogive to the base on your bullets and separating them out. In other words, you get a box of 100 bullets, which I would recommend buying a box of 500 bullets, and you have multiple trays, and you're going to measure ogive to base, and you're going to separate them out in groups of similarities, and you're going to weigh your cases out, the cases in groups that are all matching. So the reloading is going to be all different, and that's what I want to show. I don't want to show how to charge a case and seat a bullet. I'm going to show all the fine detail. Hand priming the case, everything in that detail, I won't be reloading on my T7 turret. I will be reloading on that green Big Boss. One of the things I don't really say a lot I have a Dylan group on Facebook. It's called Dylan Precision Reloaders and Shooters. I get guys on there and they say, oh, all I need is my Dylan for long range precision. And I'm thinking, really? That comment right there does tell me a lot how much someone knows about reloading, which I don't knock anyone that says that. I just know they got a lot to learn. But if someone's arrogant and they got this bravado about them, and then I'm like, okay, game on, I'm going to test your wits. But the fact of the matter is the T7 has got a little bit of play. I've already talked to a couple of guys, and they said, well, but how much play does it have? Is it too much? And I say, well, I don't have to discuss it because I got that back there with no play. So that's what I'm going to load off of. Now, between you and me, I am going to do some reloads on my T7. Once I develop my load and I've got it out there, I am going to do it on the T7. You guys will see it, and we'll see. Let's at that point, once we've done it on the best, then we can bring other variables and see how much is the T7 lacking. And there's another thing. I got to thinking about it. I was talking to a guy today, and he's going to send me some 300 PRC range brass. I thought that would be interesting after I develop my load, then take some of this range brass, fire form it, and then develop loads. I'm not going to expect perfection, but how much of a loss am I going to get? Now, that would be a really interesting topic. Very interesting, right? One of the things, like, I've had guys saying, oh, awesome. So you're going to do they say you're going to do your cartridge overall length. You're not going to base that off your magazine, are you? And I say, yes, I am. Well, yeah, but your length, don't let your magazine dictate your length. And I'm saying, no, this is a tactical rifle. I got a magazine and a bolt, and I want to hit real world. My world isn't sitting there, one in, closing the bolt, pulling the trigger, and opening the bolt and waiting 10 minutes. Now, when I'm developing my loads, it'll be that way. But when I'm out there, if I see a coyote out there, game on. I want to get the coyote, and you need a magazine to do that. So that's kind of what I'm about, and that's what the series will be about. My series isn't about being like the best guy out there, because I'll tell you something. There's guys, their genetics are more apt than mine. But I think that if anyone could take anything away, if I can do it, you can do it, and I'll give you the information that I get, and that's going to be the whole thing. And I will tell you another thing is, I have a Remington Model 700 243. What a cartridge! I used to load that years ago. That was a fun, and I'm going to start loading that up for my wife. So you'll see live streams on the 243, just working different loads and seeing. It was my daughter's youth model rifle, and I still have it. So I'm gonna let my wife have some fun with it. Why not? So
that sounds like that's going to be a blast. Watching Mrs. Highboy pop up 243.
yeah.
Those are sweet shooting rifle. I've shot many a 243 and enjoyed every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things is my friend Bert Cole, if he's looking down on me, he'll be very upset because it has a department store scope on it. That's why I've never shot it. I bought it from my daughter, It worked for a youth rifle. She got her deer with it. She got 2 deer with it, But so what? I'm going to go play with it, and maybe I'll find another scope for it, or I don't know. We'll have fun either way, And I've still got a lot of content with the handguns that I'm going to do. A lot of people, they ask me why I waited so long to do the long range precision rifle, and you and me, we kind of chatted about this before we were live, but I wanted to go long range a long time ago, but I know something. It's not cheap. People, they go, well, all that money you got in that equipment, you could add 2 rifles. Yeah, I sure could have. But, I built everything around me at $100 a month. So you could stack it on easy as you go. You can't really take $100 a month and put a competition rifle together too easy, But there was the other thing. When you're talking about, like, for the rifle that I have, I'm 1,900 into that, 700 into a scope. Now my dies are going to cost me $500. And then, what am I going to pay for powder? 8 pounds of powder? What's that going to cost me, Echo, if you had to guess?
Right now, it's going to be expensive right now.
Yeah, what, 280? Let's just call it 300.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have into my rifle, my scope, and all my hardware, $3,000. My dies are going to be $500. My components are $500. There's $4,000, and I haven't even pulled the trigger. That's why I waited until now. We got our house paid off last year. We've been doing everything right, and I had a goal, and so now I'm ready to do this. But it's not cheap, and that's why I didn't ever get into it, because it's kind of like when you're restoring an old 4-wheel drive and you lift it, right, and you go, well, now I need shocks. Then you put the shocks on, and then you put your wheel flares and it's rubbing. You're like, well, I need to raise it and I need more shocks. I'm just saying, I'm just being funny, but there's just always one more thing to add on, and I always knew that. Handguns are cheap. They are. When we were growing up, the one thing I will say my dad did right, he made sure we did shoot, and I always had a gun to shoot, and it was always a handgun. That's what he could afford. We had, we had 5 kids because he had a daughter from first marriage, and then my cousin moved in with us. They raised my cousin, and so there's 5 kids. You can't put a rifle and optics in the hands of every kid, but you can a handgun. And so for my channel, handguns are easier to obtain. Our world we live in, a lot of people are turning to guns because of self-defense. And so a handgun in people's mind is easier to manage in a house because of, the distance. They're more affordable. They're easy to take to the range, more compact. So handguns, naturally, most people gravitate to those first, So I'll still have the handguns, but we're going to start getting the precision. But it might take me a little bit because, like I say, I need my dies, and I got to find powder. And how much you think on the store shelf? 100 Lapua cases. Don't say nothing, panel. Let's see what the viewers say. How much off the average store shelf am I going to pay for 100 cases of Lapua brass in 300 PRC? See if anyone's looked at that lately.
I'm watching.
I know what they went for before the COVID, and now.
So while we're waiting, there was a comment Uncle John had up here. And Uncle John's a good guy. He says something about when I said that. He said just a bit concerning that his eyes lit up when he said, blew away this dude, But my eyes didn't light up because I want people to get shot. My eyes light up because the first time that old guy told me that story, I just remember the look on his face when he told me, So I don't want anyone to think that I'm this weird guy that wants to see people get shot. So, Jeff MOA 180. What do you think, Echo?
About what?
The price of 100 cases Lapua brass.
Okay, before COVID, Lapua brass for 100 pieces, let's say 300 PRC, you're looking at about $120 plus shipping and tax if applicable to where if you're buying it in store, but if you're ordering it from a online source and your state doesn't require sales tax like ours here in Florida, then you were looking at $120 to $125 plus shipping. Sometimes you got the shipping free because you were spending over $100, but now I would say closer to $200, almost $2 a cartridge casing.
164. So if I want 200 rounds, the same lot, which I do, look at what I'm spending just in brass. And I want 200 rounds. So that's a lot of money in brass. And then you're talking 300 in powder, but I want 2 powders. So now there's $1,000 in your powder and brass. So, and my wife and me, we paid our house off a year and a half ago, and we We got our emergency savings where we need it, and so now, it's okay. Um, uh, but that's why I never started it, because I knew that if I started that, I could have never done that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 56 years old. It took me a long time to get here. So, you know. I saw a question. Bringle Truck. I like that name. It's an original name. He should have a YouTube channel on building trucks. Any kind of truck, 4-wheel drive, Max, Kenworth. That's what that guy should have. Um, thanks, Uncle John. I can spend frivolously. I hope my wife's not watching right now. He, this guy, Bringle Truck, he said, which single stage press would you recommend for precision rifle? Would you put his question up there so everyone can see it?
Let's see here. Bringle Truck. Where are you?
Scroll just a little bit from the bottom up to the top, and you get it just a little.
Okay.
Right above Idaho.
Okay. Looking for Idaho. Oh, there's Idaho. SMG, SMS Bulldog. Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Okay. I'm not going to recommend a press. I don't want to be that guy. But for precision, I would go with a single stage press. Now, not all single stage presses are created equal. I'm running the Redding Big Boss, okay? Years ago, Redding had, let me grab it. Don't go nowhere. Ta-da. This was
Hold on. I'm blowing you up.
This was probably from the 70s, maybe going into the 80s. I don't know. But you could call this a C style because it's not an O press. It's not a closed press. And the problem you would have is the possible flex. But this is hard stuff. All right. So someone might say, well, how much would that press flex? I'd say, well, I don't know. Well, what we do know is that won't. That's the difference. Now, I don't know why Redding would have went from there to there. I don't know. I can only assume it's because that won't flex. I'm sure Redding in the day figured out how much that other one was flexing, but as time went on, they perfected it. The reason I like the Redding, I bought that press before my channel started because they mine everything right here in the United States. That's United States ore right there. Okay. The other thing, as I've got to know Robin Sharpless, right, from Redding Reloading, with working with all their products, and I go to probably 1 or 2 gun shops every day of my life. Like I got up work early today and I went to a gun shop. And I look at a lot of equipment and I know where there's shops that have used equipment. I'm always looking. And since I have on my channel, since I have been able to work with so much different equipment, I look at things that most people might not. As an example, well, if you want to know, wherever you can go and look at new equipment, you look at this hole right there. Matter of fact, take a picture of it with your phone and save it to a special file. And the next time you see a brand new press like that, you look at where that hole's at. And every reading is dead on. And since I've had my channel, since 2013, I have never not found a reading where that thing was not hardcore dead center. Every one of them. And every one of them are just trued to the entire frame of that press. So one day here, last year, I picked the phone up and I called Robin. And I said, Robin, I just want to ask you a question. And he said, sure. And I said, your equipment is cheap. And it went something like this. I said, your equipment is not cheap. And he said, no, it's not. I said, do you have a lot of equipment that doesn't make the cut? He said, yeah. That's why ours is expensive. Because one, we hold a tighter tolerance. This is what all the viewers need to know this about equipment. There's 3 variables. Basic, let's just talk basic. 3 variables is going to dictate the quality of your equipment. 1, where does it come from? Does part of it come from overseas and the other half here? Does all of it come from overseas? They got that new FX10 coming out. It's made in China. Everyone's bragging about the price point. You're buying from China. Enjoy it. If you get it, you get it. But what we know is this. The more United States built it is, better it's going to be. But what makes one piece of 100% American-made equipment better than another one that's 100% made in equipment made in America? The tolerance that company is going to hold. So this company is saying, these are our tolerances, and we're willing to eat this. We're going to, if it don't make it, it hits the recycle pile. Pure 100% mined American steel, and we screwed it up, but it ain't going out that door. We're going to hold our tolerances. Another company will say, well, 100% made in America, but we're not going to have quite the tolerance because we want this price range. Okay, now understand something. Understand this. I'm going to say this loosely. I don't have grounds to prove this. I don't think that 100% of these companies, including Reading, makes 100% of everything that goes on that press. But what you'll find is when you see equipment that costs a little less and it looks really good, they are farming more of it out to other machine shops. It would be that simple. So now this company says, you know, if we're having, okay, hey, we can get rams from this guy. Hey, get it from Bill. Bill's shop can kick them off. Well, guess what? The 2 places that are building rams, they're not going to have the same tolerances. They know that. So they're going to have plus and minuses, a little looser tolerances. And I'm just throwing this out there vaguely. I'm not picking on anyone. And I will tell you this. Every company has their place in the industry, whether it's Lee or whether it's Reading. I love them all. I do. People that want to pick on Lee. Well, guess what? Lee's got a great price point. And I'll say their machining's pretty freaking good. It's just that they find a way to make it cheaper and their designs are different. And you got to give it to Lee. Lee is so unique in their designs. It's like, well, no one else does it that way. And that's awesome. They are very needed. And as far as Lee goes, I know so many guys that started on Lee and they're still on Lee and they shoot some great ammo. So Now here's one for you. So you have a Redding and you have a Lee. That doesn't mean that the guy loading off Lee is going to put out any worse ammunition. No, it doesn't mean that. Here you go. Here, you want one? You want a freebie? My father used to go buy a rifle, and he'd go buy the Lee dies. And he'd say, you watch. He'd size it, and if it didn't fit the chamber the way he wanted, he'd go buy 2 more Lee full-length size dies, because one of them would be a little tighter. And he'd say, that's the die for that rifle. Because the Lee, their tolerances weren't as tight. It's an affordable die. And so my dad would have multiple Lee dies, and that's how he would do that, right? So back to the question, what press am I using? I'm using the Redding because they're the tightest tolerances, the tightest they can be. Or I want to go, I don't use that much. I've always had guys say, why do you got that big boss back there? You never use it. Because I'm gonna. And really, the fact is, I will tell the viewers this. Had I have never had my channel, I would have gotten into precision a lot sooner. Because I wouldn't have had to buy all the equipment. Then I would have saved my $100 a month until I could have bought the rifle and been my journey. That's why I originally bought my big boss. I bought my Hornady from High Volume. I bought my big boss because I wasn't messing around. And then my channel started, and the big boss has been waiting. So there, I hope that answers your question. And now I want to say something real quick. I'm bringing Lyman onto my channel. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I've got a Lyman All-American 8. You guys want to know why I'm doing that?
Yeah, hit us with that, because I'm kind of curious myself. I know that you told Lyman one time that you were not interested in carrying or putting their product on your bench. So what's going on?
Well, got to the point where I told myself, I want to try it. I want to try it. So I got one on the way. And
well, good, because
I got a digital scale from Lyman on the way. It has memory. It's an auto scale, and I have a couple other things.
I'm glad, because this is the thing. A lot of guys, I've heard them in the past say that Highboy is a high-end reloading snob, that he only uses the best stuff that you can buy. And I'm like, you don't know Highboy like I know Highboy. Highboy started reloading on stuff that were hand-me-downs from friends of his at the pawn shop.
Yeah.
I go, now that he's busted his rear end and worked sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, along with his wife working full time, they were able to pay the house off, and now he's able to, I'm like, YouTube doesn't pay him nothing. Okay. He gets a check from YouTube. It's a joke. It's like, well, thanks. You bought me a box of bullets, type of thing. And that's only if you don't buy Burger. That's Sierra bullets. And that's pre-COVID price. So there's that. But if any of the guests have any questions for Highboy or any of the panel, now's the time to ask away, and we'll see if we can give you an honest answer.
Pamela, I appreciate that. I will tell you. I will tell you right now, the reason I run the equipment I run all my life. When I was homeless, I bought this. I got this camper. One day I'll tell my homeless story. It's quite the story, very dramatic. But I got this Lee hand loader. I was in this little camper and I was loading ammo and I didn't even have a gun. And it sucked. I said, I hate this. And I was done, you know. But all my life had just literally used equipment, and it always worked. I mean, dies work. If you take care of them, they work. And you sure get good at inspecting dies. I think one of the reasons I kind of have an eye that maybe most people might not, I challenge any of you. Go find a pawn shop if there's any left that have a bucket of dies. And you know what those guys taught me to do? Look in the dies. It don't matter what the outside looks like. You're looking. And so when I go buy a used reloading press, there was things you'd look at. You know what? It's the toggle cracked, right? Is the handle? What's the handle like? But finally, when I was able to reload, I said, you know what? What do I want? I've always wanted Redding. And my dad hated, well, no, he didn't. My dad loved RCBS, hated Hornady. When Redding came up, he'd say, yeah. He says, but they're so expensive. But I got my Redding. I think everyone likes what they like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's everybody kind of finds their press and their price range that they like. And I think that each manufacturer has something that you can use that's going to give you quality ammunition.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Reading, they basically are everything's built in the U.S. and that's a plus. No matter how you look at it. So's Lee. Lee is all manufactured in the U.S. as well. The only thing they outsource, and I mean this is the only thing they outsource, is the form injected plastic that they get. Any of that. And that's done locally as well. That's not done overseas. That's done in the United States by a couple of shops around them located in the same area so that they could get the product fast. And I believe Redding does the same thing on anything that they need as far as specific things that they don't manufacture. That they get locally around as well. Most of your higher end shops will do that. They'll buy stuff from other local shops trying to help out the economy in their areas.
Well, I've always been amazed at Lee, how they can make everything in the United States and have the price point they do. They do it right. And I will tell you, I have their press right here. And for this reason, I've never got rid of it because I got to know. I got to know, man. Once I develop my load out to however far I'm going to go, I wonder how it would do with Lee dies off a Lee press. I got to know, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you guys like to know?
Oh yeah, I've had. Let me tell you a little bit of story about Lee. When Highboy was telling you, his dad used to look to see which die was cut to fit that particular rifle's chamber. In other words, he was looking for a die that was going to bump it back just enough to give him accurate ammunition.
Yeah.
And what Richard Lee figured out years ago was that resizing brass beyond SAMI spec was not only wearing out the customer's brass, but it was not giving you the highest accuracy that you could get. So what he was doing was and I've measured the dies. If you measure an RCBS die and you measure, now this is regular RCBS, not the small body, none of that, just regular RCBS, and you measure the inside of the body of the die for a 223, and you measure a inside of a body of a Lee die. The Lee die is bigger by 1,500, maybe a little bit less than 1,500. And you don't think that's very much, and it's not. It's basically less than 2 human hairs off your head. But what it does is it lets the cartridge case be a tad bit bigger, so that when it's sitting in the chamber of your rifle, it's just a little bit bigger, so that it will sit in there a little bit more aligned with the axis of the bore. And when you get everything lined up, the 3 circles, you talking about the tail end of the case head, the shoulder area, and the bullet, and they're all in a line, you get a lot more. You get everything lined up in one concentric circle, with the chamber and the bore and the lands and grooves. Your ammo is going to be more accurate than if one of those 3 areas are misaligned. That's just how it is, especially when you're talking accuracy at 1,000 yards or plus.
Yeah. I have 2 sets of 30-06 dies in Reading, and one set is from the 60s or 70s. With my instant indicator set up, I can size my cases off either die, and I can size both cases back 7 thousandths under a Sammy Min. They're both the same. And when I had 3 full-length dies from Reading, all 223 Remington, and all 3 of them would size 7 thousandths under a Sammy Min. Man, every one of them Reading dies are the same. That's why I go Reading. They're the same. Their specs are so freaking tight. That's why I like Reading. Now, what I'm not going to do with my lineman is tell anyone what I like better. You know what? I just want to try it out. I told myself, I want to try it. I want to see what it's like, and I'm going to show it. You'll see it run. If someone wants to buy a lineman, buy a lineman. If you want to buy a Reading, buy a Reading. And RCBS has a great turret press. Go buy it. Whatever you want. Pamela Earp is cracking me up. She's over here bad mouthing us Idaho guys, but RCBS isn't bad. But I love my Reading. So yeah, I'm a snob. I should change my channel name to Snob Reloading.
Snob Reloading.
Michael had a question earlier, Highboy. Why did you choose the 300 PRC?
Oh, good question. Yeah. Well, it was kind of process over time. I was going back and forth on it. It's the numbers. And, I was bouncing it off Greg, we were either going to go 300 Win Mag or that, And, there was a load he worked up on his data. He, at 2,000 yards, their 250 grain A-tip is cruising at 1,120 feet per second. It's got a lot left. So I could go either way. I was actually looking for the 300 Win Mag, and I found one that wasn't close to me. But then I saw the Bergera in a 300 PRC, And I really sat back and thought about it. And I said, that's what I need. I need that 300 PRC because I'm not going to talk about, I don't have the facts in front of me. So I don't think I should put things out there, but it's going to step out there a little better than the 300 Win Mag. That's why I went there. I'm glad I didn't go with 338 Lapua. I had a lot of guys wanting me to. That sure sounds good, but man, that thing would have been a powder hog. It would have, man, that thing would just keep me in the poorhouse.
How much more powder, Highboy, versus the 300 PRC?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even look at the three. I've seen the specs on the 338 before, but as of late I haven't looked at them, so I really can't say with any to compliment it at all. Michael Hurtneck says, "Is it a barrel burner?" Okay, this is another reason that I didn't get into rifles until now, because your barrel has a duty cycle, if you want to call it. It's gonna die, and then you're gonna put a new barrel in it, and then you're gonna start all over. And me and Greg were talking about either Rotumbo or H11, but US 869 is actually slower burning in both those, and we want a slower burning powder. Think about it. I'm going a long way with this rifle. This rifle is capable of shooting 150s up to 250s. So why do I want to shoot a 150? A 150, I'm going to use a faster burning powder. That's going to be harder on my barrel versus a slower burning powder that's going to develop max pressure further down the bore. So it's going to kind of take away that the beating of the chamber, so to speak. It's going to last longer. So is it a barrel burner? All rifles are barrel burners. I don't care. But the slower the burning powder, I think the easier it's going to be on my rifle. And so that's my gosh, I don't know how far I'm going to be able to take this rifle, but it's going to be fun.
Have you looked at velocities yet?
Not that, no, because I've been so busy at work since I bought that rifle. I finally, today I got a good time.
I'm gonna pull out the new Hornady because I'm curious.
Yeah, I got mine right here, but I'll listen to you.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I have not looked at that cartridge. I have no idea what it's about as of yet. So let's see.
MacMan's picking up his 338 Lapua custom rifle from the gunsmith. Super excited.
Julian's awesome. Brother, it's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Mac. He's got some nice rifles.
He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Up to 20.
Okay, 300 PRC is
FMOA up to 20 grain difference between the Lapua and the 300. Interesting.
I want to thank Beveled Glass. He says, "Thanks, Highboy. Even without the back story, you are who you are. I've enjoyed your channel and have learned a lot and still learning. I am happy staying with the handgun reloading." You know what? I think handgun, it is so fun because it's just this high volume. But the countless hours I've sat reloading my handgun, Walter Bunning, he's the one that I wanted to get into casting forever. I kind of knew the basics, but I didn't know the fine stuff about it. Walter's the one, and him and Reloader 762, they're the ones that just encouraged me and And now I haven't been doing it any. My job keeps me so busy, but that's the cool thing is, you go in and out of, man, I'm always doing something, so I'm never bored. And I want to thank Pamela. That was a nice compliment. She says, I agreed, beloved. She loves the Bible studies. I do have a Bible study tomorrow night. It's how do you know when you love the Lord? How do you know? So stay tuned, because it will actually help you with your relationships with your spouses and your neighbor. How do you know when you love your neighbor? Maybe they got a nice boat. You want to be friends with them. So anyway, my awesome wife, she says, "Hi Pam, you have got to come to Idaho with your fiance so we can meet you." Yeah, absolutely. And the houses, yes, they are expensive, but it didn't go from 80,000 to 450. It went from 276,000 to 450. Ask us how we know. I'm half of a millionaire now, so I am so rich. Do I need to get my low data out there?
I am digging for it. I'm just trying to find the page, and I'm blind as a bat.
I'll help you out, brother.
I should be like right on top of it.
608.
300.
Go to 608, page 608. Ask me how I know.
Because you've been looking at it for a little bit.
11th edition. Get you some.
Okay, I'm there. You are right. All right, let's eyeball these cartridges. Get away from all these little baby weights. Who's gonna buy this cartridge and shoot a 165 grain bullet? That's like shooting a Winchester 308 and shooting a 90 grain bullet. Here we go. We're starting to shoot a 200. I'm looking for a 250.
Just so y'all know, coming out of this rifle, that 150 grain bullet's going at a 35-50.
Yeah, and that's going to burn your rifling out within about 1,500 shots.
Yeah. How many rounds do you think I'll get out of this stainless barrel shooting the heavier bullets and the slower burning powders?
Probably somewhere around 2,000 to 2,500 max, depending on this. I don't know anything about this cartridge, but I will read up on it, and I'll figure out if you're shooting slower burning powder and you're using heavier bullets, you're going to get the longest life out of the barrel as possible.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to fire crack your chamber because of the quick burning pressure with the quick spike inside there. It's basically pushing it out over the entire barrel.
Critter says 50 ways to love your lever action.
Yeah.
Critter's a trip.
I'm going to stick with, pardon me, 200 grains and higher. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This 220 grain bullet, I can push it at like 2875 max. Of course, I'll figure out what my max is because I'm going to be chronographing. I can push this 250 grain bullet 2,700 yards. Now, here I got one for you. My twist on my rifle is 1 in 9. That 488, it calls for an 8.5 twist. Well, I bought 200 of their bullets. Those 250 grain A-tips, but I got them for $80 a box. So if they don't work, I'm okay. Because what do you think some of them A-tips are going for around the country? I saw one shop and he had them 125 for 100. So I bought them because down the road, I might end up with another rifle where I can use those bullets. And I got them; they're all in the same lot. So they're beautiful. You guys want to see these A-tips? Who wants to see the A-tip?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get the A-tip.
Eagle got a good comment. Real question will be, how many rounds to your shoulder gives out?
There's another one. There's another one, because I would particularly think that your shoulder is probably going to give out after 4 or 5 shots. You're going to be, I mean, shooting at paper. If you're shooting at an animal, you could shoot all day, because the adrenaline is going to push you. Endorphins that are released during a hunt. You never feel that. You talk to any hunter, I don't care if he's shooting a 300 Win Mag and doesn't have it even hard against his shoulder. He'll feel it later, but at the time of the hunt, he feel absolutely nothing.
I'm gonna buy me a shotgun pad for rifle.
I'm okay with recoil. That doesn't bother me too much. I guess the older we get, we'll find out. But like, I'm okay with it. So these
it don't bother me.
It don't bother me when you're pulling the trigger. So this is the 250 grain A-tip. Okay.
Nice.
It's calling for a 1 8.5 twist. My rifle is a 9. There's a chance it'll work. I have no idea.
My 30-06 beats my shoulder up bad if I shoot about 20 rounds. Bruised.
So They come like this. These have not been touched by human hands. When they manufacture these, they go right from the line into here. And what you get with these is you get a polishing a bag. Kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
You basically put the bullets into there, and you do this, and you roll them, and then you kind of rearrange them, and you roll them, and you kind of rearrange them for, say, a minute or two. And what that does is there's this coating on them from the manufacturer. You just kind of feel it. You got to get that off. So they give you that little bag. Okay, I'll see if I can get this to
Can you blow that up, Echo? Are you busy?
That's an aluminum tip.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a beautiful bullet. Man, if I could drill a hole in this, I could make some nice jewelry with this for my wife. She could just wear it around her neck, you know. But it's so precise. It's gorgeous.
Hornady makes good bullets. Really nice ones.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's one thing I'll say about Hornady. You know, if you look at American businesses, a lot of businesses that are family owned, as they transition through the generations, they tend to quality drop, and then a corporation buys them up. Hornady is the complete opposite. It's like there's some people in this world, everything they touch turns to gold. God blesses them that way. And if you look at Hornady, I mean, I gotta admit they got a superior bullet line, and it keeps getting better. I was telling the guys the other night, I do miss my Hornady lock and load press. I told my wife the other night, I thought, man, you know, I gotta get another one of those. Just because I liked it. You know, I didn't have a problem with it until it wouldn't seat anymore. The only reason I wouldn't buy one today is they got to engineer that part of it different, where the ram goes down on the base. They need hardened steel where that ram hit. If they would change that, they would have a winner, in my opinion. But anyway, so I think Hornady does a lot of things right. And Hornady, they're kind of like Lee in a way that they kind of got their own thing going. You look at their equipment, they really don't copy anyone else. They're kind of stepping outside of the box. They're very innovative that way. So I got to hand it to Hornady. And I will be definitely trying some of their bullets out. And you'll see it, you know.
Yeah, those A-tips are absolutely amazing. Basically, the polish bag is Hornady with their other ammunition. They after they're done making them, they tumble them against each other,
Right.
and that polishes the bullet of any of its basically it's almost like a rubbing compound they use to polish the entire outside of the jacket, and they take them off by rubbing them against other bullets. Well, these they do not. These bullets, every one of those bullets that Highboy has in a 500 round box is somewhere between 1 and 1,000, and those 500 ran consecutively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 500. Then they're dumped into a package. They are not cleaned. They are given like a Crown Royal liquor bottle bag that has it's very soft, but it has a little bit, yes. And you dump the bullets in there, just the amount that you're using to load that day, and you rub them around in there, and it takes off that polishing compound.
Yeah. So now, I don't even know if these are going to work in my rifle, but I bought 2 of them. And why would I do that? Getting into the precision rifle, the name of the game is all changed. Okay. See this little lot number? They're matching. It's funny. I saw these sitting in other stores in multiples, and they weren't matching. These were matching, and there was a third one there that wasn't. I took these 2 because, okay, these are going I've seen them like $104 to $125, kind of just around my area and online. I got these for $80. So I told myself, if they don't work and I've got to sell them, I have a matched set. I'll get my money out of them, but I have to know. It's like, I got to know. My twist rate is 1 in 9. These take 1 in 8.5. Will they work? I got to know. I think that's pretty valid, don't you think, Echo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got to know. What if they work? Then I got 200 matching. If not, I can either sell them or hold on to them. Because down the road, who knows, I might get a 1 in 8.5 rifle twist, right? Oh.
Or no, just your next barrel for that Bagheera when you burn it out.
Yeah.
Get a tighter barrel set up for it so that you can shoot the heavy bullets.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants me to show you? I know a lot of you already know this, but who wants me to show you the simple calculation of how many rounds you're going to get out of an 8-pound jug of powder? I need 3 yeses. If I have 3 yeses, I'll show you.
Yes, I'm 1.
I'll be 2. 8 pounds, so that's 8 times 7 is what? Is that 56 or 63?
56.
56. Okay, 56,000 or 56,000 grains of powder. That's a lot.
4 more yeses.
7,000 times 8. 56,000. Yeah. Okay, so I can sit back. If you really do the math, you could figure out how many grains of powder that's going to take to kill that barrel. If you say, I'll get 2,000 rounds, well, you can figure out how much powder you're going to need for 2,000 rounds. But let's do this. So now you've got the rifle. and you're telling yourself, I want to get an 8-pound jug of powder. How many rounds am I going to get out of that? Well, what you do, you always use your worst case scenario. Like for my 44 Magnum, when I run Hodgson's H110, I'm going to go to the biggest bullet and I'm going to go to the fattest charge. And that'll tell me of that charge how many I'll get out of that. Now, if I load lighter, then that's going to get me more charges. But I want to know worst case scenario. If we know the load we're going to develop, then we can use that powder charge as what we'll actually get. But we're developing the load, we don't know. So we're going to go the largest bullet, and we're going to go the max charge. Okay? I'm not saying you're going to load the max charge. We're looking at the money end of it. Here's the 250 grain A-tip. Aluminum tip. Get you some. Now, if I go retumbo, my max charge is 77.5. Okay? 77.5. That would be the most we could go, according to their spec book. And I want to say something about spec books in a minute. It'll help some of you, because I had this question come up a couple times. So 1 pound of powder is equivalent to how many grains of powder, Echo?
7,000.
So we have 7,000, and you're going to buy an 8-pound jug. We have 56,000 grains of powder, and we're going to divide that by 77.5. That's going to give you 722 firings out of 8-pound jug.
Not too bad.
No, except that $300 for 8 pounds every time you pull that trigger, right? Now, okay, I said 77.5 grains is the max load based off their data. So then I got to tell you something after this. You'll think I'm lying, but I'm not lying. Guys say, well, I don't get it. Why is everyone's load data different? I've been saying this since my channel started. It's because you have, if you're baking cookies and you're in the middle of the United States and you have someone on the West Coast baking cookies and someone on the East Coast baking cookies, and they're all the exact same recipe, their elevation's different, so their heat's different. They're not going to bake them all at the same amount of time. Time's going to be a factor. So think about it. If I take I buy a box of Sierra bullets, and I give some to Elliot, and I give some to Echo, and I send some to a few of the other, and I say, I want y'all load this with the exact same recipe and tell me what your velocities are. You're all going to come back with different velocities. Because different temperatures, and they all have different chambers, and their powder lots are different. They bought powder that wasn't all manufactured at the same time, so you have enough of a difference here, right? And remember something: if you load a load in August and it's a Magnum load, and let's say you load it up in December, and then it's a max load, and you go shoot that puppy in August, you think you're going to blow your gun up because the temperature changed that, right? So that's why load data is different. All these companies, they're taking their load data, they're running it through their test barrels with the powder they're using, which was a different lot than what Sierra had, and a different lot than what Spear had, and their cases are of a different head stamp, and then their barrel lengths were different. So nothing's going to be the same. It's what we call relevant. It's just relevant. It's what they came out with. That's why it's our job to start low and work up and find out what your pressures are going to be and your velocities. So if that helps you. So now I'm going to tell you, I had to ponder this. This happened today at the gun shop. I sometimes at the gun counter, some guys are just full of crap. They are. And this guy, he's talking. He says, well, he says, my father-in-law, I had him loaded up a bunch of ammo. He says, he dropped it off. I paid him. So I get up to go hunting. He didn't put any primers in them. I'm thinking that is BS because it's going to funnel out. I was going to call him on it, but I thought, no, it's hunting season. His own father-in-law is using stick powder. And I thought, who's dumber? The guy that's trusting this guy to do his loads or the guy that's accepting money for loads he can't put together? I'm sitting there. And so he says what he says and he walks away, and I look at the guys behind the gun counter and they look at me and they go, my God, we just sold that guy a rifle. He's going hunting. Like, I couldn't believe it.
John, all kinds.
John's hand loading. He says lots of people everywhere are full of baloney. But who knows? Maybe he probably loaded his own and forgot his own primers and blame it on the poor father-in-law. I don't know, but
probably didn't have any powder in the cases either. Probably just put bullets in them. Totally forgot to put the powder and primers in there. He's probably half shy of a full load.
You worded that just for half shy of a full load. So I came home from work, and for the live stream, I finished cleaning my 38 special cartridge cases. They turned out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What do you think I used to clean that with?
Definitely wet tumbler, probably, but well, kind of see a little in the corner.
I used a wet tumbler. What do you think was in the wet tumbler?
Hot water, lemon shine, and soap.
Just hot water and lemon juice. No stainless steel pins. It comes out that nice. But you got to tumble them for a little longer. The pins are faster, but this way, I turn on in the morning, go to work, come home, shut it off, and drain them. No pins. I love it. So.
Yeah, I don't use pins either.
Yeah. Too frustrating. All right, guys. Good live stream. I want to thank everyone for having me on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. You're reading my mind.
Good to have you on.
Yeah, really appreciate having you on, Highboy, and for you giving us the rundown on how you got started into reloading and what your plans are for your channel now that you're moving into extreme long distance shooting. We will be covering you with our impotent 308 Winchester rifles and following along, and maybe I'll end up getting something big bore and maybe a 300 Win Mag or something like that.
Oh man, that would be cool. That would be cool. The 300 Win Mag isn't off my radar. Oh, did I say that? Oh. I think that would be so cool. But you know what I want? Okay. I'm going to answer a question, and I'm going to tell you guys where I want to go with my channel. Okay. I tumbled these all day. I turned my wet tumbler on and went to work. All that was in there was hot water, dish soap, and lemon juice. Came home, rinsed them, ate dinner, and came to the live stream. So they tumbled for about 8 hours. It don't hurt them. Let them tumble.
Mhm.
I want to tell you one thing that I want to do on my channel. Ugh, I would love to do this. I don't know if it's possible. Hey, Echo, what caliber rifle would be really good for nailing coyotes? It's not a lot of recoil.
Anything I would say if you wanted something really kind of neat, a 22-250.
Okay, I was thinking 22-250. It's so flat shooting. You know, I was thinking of the 222 Remington, something like that, right?
Triple deuce, yep.
Yeah, what I was thinking was give me a rifle and I developed the loads, but then I put a night optics on it, go out and call coyotes in at night and get video footage. I want to do that so bad, but I don't know how all that works, the videos and stuff, but I would like to go call coyotes in at night. I think that would be so fun. Get a night vision scope and they're coming and they're coming and they don't even know you're there. Pow, pow. I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that would be very interesting to do. I actually have a buddy of mine that is doing that right now in Utah, that is actually shooting right now. And we're going to see some footage of that real soon.
Well, in October is when fishing is good because the fishing, once it gets, below 40, they go dormant. Well, your coyotes, they're going to start eating and eating. They're trying to get their calories like a grizzly bear, snow spring. Right. So you go out there, you call them in, man, they're going to come right now. And so it would be a lot of fun to do that. So maybe another year or two, I might do something like that for fun on my channel, I want to say hi to someone out there, Eagle Eye Shooting. I really like that guy. I kind of miss, I don't see him a lot. He's a nice guy. And I want to say, of course, Idaho Rogers and Walter Bunny. I haven't seen Walter for we're always busy. Just want to say hi to those two guys. So.
Yeah, we're going to have to get together and do a reloading thing with me, you, and Walter and AR.
Absolutely.
Yes. But thank you very much for coming on tonight and being our special guest. And me and AR very much appreciate it. And so do all the people out in the side chat watching. Eagle Eye, what is going on, my brother? Just say happy evening to you and everyone out here. We have quite a few people out here. And I'm very happy that everyone came in to listen to us chat and to ask Highboy here some questions. And is there anything else you would like to say, Highboy?
Well, I want to thank Echo and Elliot for AR Guns for inviting me. You guys are so awesome. You guys are like family. And, I saw that Eagle Eye said, he watches a lot, but he doesn't comment. I've been popping in lately on the live streams. You guys are always great to listen to. But I do thank you for having me. Thank you very much. And I want to thank all the viewers as well. So I hope it was a good turnout.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of people tonight and still do. And just appreciate everyone spending their Monday evening with us, gentlemen. And we'll be doing this again from time to time, just seeing what Highboy is up to. Once he starts doing some loading and stuff, we may have some late night after hours reloading chats and see what he's coming up with, what his thoughts are on his loads that he's developing and ammunition he's using. And I'll have to fire back with my severely less powder carrying cartridge, the 308 Winchester, but I still love the Winchester 308. It's a great, capable cartridge, just not quite as capable as a 300 PRC. But you know, us little guys, we've got to have our dreams. Hey, we're still shooting the same diameter bullet, buddy.
I got a friend. A lot of you might have heard him. He goes by Casey Knorr. Kasey Knorr. You know who he is, Echo?
I've heard the name a couple of times.
Dude shoots like over 2.5 miles.
Wow.
That's what I was told. I know he's going 1.5 miles. I've seen it, and I've talked to him on the phone. He is the most humble guy, and they have up in the Salt Lake area. They have a little school up there, and I would like to go up there. And he's aware of that, so it'd be kind of cool if I could get him on a live stream. He is really something. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see those guys out there capable of shooting those extreme distances. I'm a big component of changing the mile from 1700 and what is it, 70 yards?
1760.
1760 to 1776. I think that's what the mile should be made into from now on. It should be 776 yards.
Well,
1776
it really
yards.
is. If you think about it, minute of angle is 1 inch, but it's really 1.047 inches. So if you look at the mile, it's really 1776. We just call it 1760.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's an MOA thing with the mile, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. But we just appreciate everyone coming out to listen, and thanks a lot. And AR, is there anything you want to do, say, or do you want to go ahead and take us out when you get a chance?
Yeah, it was great spending the evening with you guys. I enjoyed it. Appreciate you all dropping by in the side chat. Good to always see you all. Good evening with you, Highboy. Enjoyed it. You too, Echo. And we'll see you all on the flip side. We'll see you Thursday night at 8 on my streaming channel. Friday at Echo's 6:05 Friday. Be sure to check that out. And you all have a good one.
Real quick, I won't be here Saturday night because we have a family get together. But tomorrow night, I'm going to have a Bible study on my channel. So I hope to see you there.
Yes, sir. Everyone,
Sounds
come
good.
and check out Highboy. In my description, I have a link to his channel in case you are not subscribed to him. Go ahead and check his channel out. Hit the description box. I also have going across the screen. That's his website. And if you're not subscribed to 76highboy.com, go over there and check it out. Bunch of guys over there, great guys. If you're reloading, if you are a reloader, are you a caster, or you're a new reloader, or you're just wanting to get into it, go over there, sign up and check it out. It's free to sign up and the information is priceless. So go over and check that out for us. Take care, everyone.